Alright, Brian, we'll see if we can make you a little how-to video on how to run one of these long calls. Maybe it'll help you a little bit. This is one I just finished up late last night. This is some Hoopy River cedar. It's off a big old snag we cut off an island in the Hoopy River swamp in Georgia. And paddle is a Cadillac paddle, which is that's a South American wood. But the underside is also a veneered paddle, so the underside is also Hoopy River cedar. And I don't think anybody's done that before, but the reason I do that is, for one thing, for the looks, but also it adds some weight. A lot of guys have trouble running a cedar paddle because it's real light, and if you add some weight to it, it helps them a lot. So anyway, so let's start off with a few things about how to hold the box. One, you need to hold a long box really loose. When I hold it, the paddle handle hooks underneath the thumb, and the end at your pointer finger goes right there. So, and I have a thumb dish just to orient your hand, but I'll always lift my thumb out of the thumb dish when I'm playing it. This one don't have one on it yet. But you want to hold it loose. You got to let the call rock and move naturally before you really get the sound. Otherwise, you'll choke it off. And the same thing with the paddle. If you hold a paddle too tight or apply too much pressure, it won't have any rasp. So if you got a call that's got too much rasp, you can pinch the paddle a little more and tone the rasp down. Or if it has trouble developing rasp, the lighter you hold it, the more rasp it'll have on the bottom end. So, in holding the paddle, this applies to my call, and probably most calls, you want to hold it generally back towards the back end of the paddle for most of the calls. Now, when I'm purring, I put my fingers right in the two notches. Pinch real hard. It's one of the few times you'll pinch the paddle, but you pinch it between your fingers real hard. And usually I'll do a little kind of a little rock motion. And you can cluck, just apply some down pressure, and just a little short little pop. So anyway, Yelping, obviously the main call you're probably going to use. Well, cutting probably the primary call on a box, but Yelping too. So almost all the calls, you want to have your pointer finger and your middle finger right on the two front sides of those points. Now, two ways to call. I call on the left rail mostly split finger. I always lay the box sideways when I'm calling on the left rail. When I'm calling on the right rail, I'll can it just a little bit, so I use the weight of the paddle, to help. But I call with the call laying sideways to me, and I'll call on the left rail like I said, split finger. So now you want to come up here and catch the front. So this is the front, this is the back. If I'm telling you want more front end, that means you want more key or more of the high pitch sound. That comes from the front. The rasp comes from the back. You call it the back, but it's really about the middle of the paddle or the middle of the box. So you can come up there, and it's acceptable to search for where the yelp is by keying a little bit first. A lot of times a hen will she'll even yelp high without much rasp in it sometimes. And then she'll develop rasp towards the end of her little run. So, and you can run it flat too, but I'll put my thumb then right there, middle finger there, and my finger on top of the paddle right there. But when you do that now, and this will help you too, you don't want to be trying to do your whole arm. If you're experienced, you can do that when you're starting out, and you'll see me doing that sometimes too. don't move your arm. Just put your arm up against your side. Yeah. Just bend at the wrist. It'll help you be more consistent. And this is like a little bit like shooting a bow. It's all about consistency. So, like a lot of guys, you'll see them, they'll do this, and they'll hit it just right, and keep on going. They'll right on through the sweet spot. So you don't want all front, you don't want all rasp. You got to get a little front, a little rasp with it. Make a good yelp. And if you want to throw in a cluck right after you rasp or right after you yelp, so just a little bit of pressure, just a fast little snap. So a cluck is really doesn't have any rasp in it. Now, when you do that, it's got just a little rasp, but it's acceptable. So clucking on a long box, you can do it with pressure. Put some down pressure, hold it just like you're going to purr. Makes a really true cluck with no rasp. You can pat it. I don't generally do that. You do have to pinch the paddle just a little bit. Otherwise it'll be a cut. A cut is a cluck with some rasp at the back end of it. So to cut, you can pat it with just your finger up here. But generally, I use more of a chop motion. It's got just a little bit of chop, not a lot of chop. Mostly pat with just a little chop. Remember, a hen's got cadence when she cuts too. It's usually like 2, 2, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 2, like that. Now when I yelp on the right side, I'll turn the call just a little bit, so like 45 degrees basically, and I run it flat on that side. And flat means just like that, the paddle flat to the call. So again, I grab it right there, right in front of the 2 points, finger right on top, and this was just touches it, just light. I mean light. And that's kind of the key to running a long call, is a really light touch. I mean, and you can see how if you do that, you're going to lose the rasp. Gobble, man, that box is really sweet right there. Gobbling on a long call, there's a few different ways to do it. The way I do it is you want to make your fingers just like that, just a little bit of a wedge to it, not like this. You want to be able to put just a little bit of down pressure, not much, but just to keep the paddle from getting up. So, and so about right here, about maybe 1/4 point. And you want the paddle, you want the call to be 90 degrees to the ground. And that's all there is to it. to that. Purring, again, you want to pinch, just put your 2 fingers in between the notches in the back. That's what the notches are for. And the 2 front points are the reference where your hold goes for there. But so you want to split your fingers back there in the notches. And generally, most calls purr way off the back end of the call, way down the rail. So you just got to find the sweet spot. And you can make it deeper by calling further back, and a little higher pitch purr and further up. But most calls have a sweet spot where they purr best right in that one spot. So once you've run it enough, and here's something else that'll really help you. Like when you're just learning and you start your key, your high front, and you come down, you know, that's a mistake guys make right there. They'll work all the way through from front to back and don't stop at the sweet spot. So when you do that, when you come down and you hit the sweet spot, just keep hitting it. Don't stop. Just keep doing it over and over and over. When you got it, just keep doing it. And muscle memory will kick in, and you'll pick it up and hit it every time. I think we covered everything. Key is just really soft front. I think that's it. If you got any questions, let me know, but I think that'll help you.